During the Second World War, millions of civilians lived with a reality most people today never experience. Law enforcement was stretched thin, blackout conditions ruled the night, resources were scarce, and folks had a constant awareness that help might not arrive in time. In occupied towns and bomb-damaged cities, homes became both a refuge and a liability. If your house looked easy to enter, it attracted trouble. But if it looked difficult, noisy, or unpredictable, well, people simply moved on. What's remarkable is just how effective these methods were, not because they relied on force, but because they exploited human behavior. Fear of exposure, uncertainty, and delay mattered more than locks alone. These home defense practices were never written into manuals for the public. They were learned, shared quietly, and refined through experience. Even today, with burglaries still driven by opportunity and speed, many of these are as terror. One of the most consistent lessons from WWII's civilian defense was that criminals avoided being seen. Families learned to control sight lines both inside and outside the home. Windows were managed carefully, not just for blackout compliance, but to prevent outsiders from learning the layout of the house. Curtains were drawn unevenly rather than fully closed, creating the impression of occupancy. Today, the same logic applies. Leaving selective interior lights on in different rooms at varying times, especially at eye level rather than ceiling level, creates the sense of movement and presence. It's not brightness that deters entry, but the suggestion that someone is awake and alert. Wartime homes rarely relied on a single barrier. The goal was never to stop entry entirely, but to make it loud and time-consuming. Simple objects placed behind doors, such as stacked household items or suspended metal cookware, acted as early warning systems. The sound itself was the deterrent. In modern homes, this translates into creating unavoidable noise at entry points. Loose gravel paths near doors, unsecured interior objects near entrances, or simple mechanical door chimes all exploit the same psychology. Burglars prioritize silence and speed. Anything that threatens either pushes them away. During the war, predictable routines were dangerous. Families varied when lights were on, when doors were bolted, and which rooms appeared occupied. A house that behaved the same way every night became readable. Applying this today means changing patterns deliberately. Sometimes securing a door early, sometimes later. Sometimes using a secondary entrance briefly, then abandoning it. Even small changes disrupt surveillance. Opportunistic criminals rely on habit more than planning, and unpredictability breaks their confidence. Wartime civilians, avoided making their homes look like fortresses, since that could attract unwanted attention. Instead, they relied on more subtle obstacles. Narrow pathways, awkward gate angles, and low fencing placed just a bit off-centre would force anyone approaching to slow down and, reposition themselves. These days, planters, benches, or decorative barriers placed just off the direct line to doors serve much the same purpose. The idea isn't really to stop someone physically, but rather to interrupt their flow. Every pause, every little hesitation increases the chance of being noticed. and that's something burglars instinctively want to avoid. Communities during the Second World War, they really depended on audible signals. A slammed shutter, a dropped object, or even a deliberately loud movement. All these were ways to signal awareness without direct confrontation. That same principle still applies today, just more indoors. If you suspect someone's outside, making a bit of deliberate noise inside, like moving furniture or opening a window with a bit of force, can communicate that someone's home. The message is simple, really. This house isn't empty, and someone's paying attention. Most wartime homes, honestly, couldn't withstand a determined forced entry. So doors were reinforced just enough to cause a delay. Extra internal latches, angled braces, or secondary door bars would increase the time it took to open an entrance. Modern equivalents are things like interior door reinforcement bars or secondary locking mechanisms that you can't see from the outside. The goal here isn't total resistance, but delay. The longer it takes to get in, the less appealing the target becomes. One overlooked World War II tactic was, well, personalization. Homes displayed signs of active use, worn tools by the door, muddy boots, or work items left visible. These things, signalled an attentive occupant. In modern homes, visible signs of daily life, such as regularly moved items near entrances or maintained outdoor spaces, communicate vigilance. Abandoned or static-looking homes attract far more attention than lived-in ones. Wartime defence was communal by necessity. People watched for unfamiliar movement and responded to unusual sounds. Today, informal neighbourhood awareness still outperforms isolated security measures. Simply maintaining visible interaction with neighbours and, acknowledging passers-by reinforces the idea that activity is noticed. Burglars overwhelmingly avoid environments where people recognise patterns and faces. During the Second World War, families rearranged furniture to block direct movement from entry points to valuables. There were no straight paths. This forced anyone inside to navigate obstacles, increasing noise and delay. Applying this today can be as simple as avoiding clear lines from doors to bedrooms or storage areas. Subtle interior complexity increases security without advertising it. The most important lesson from the Second World War home defence is that success meant never having to confront anyone. The objective was avoidance, not victory. Homes that looked uncertain, noisy, occupied, and inconvenient were left alone. That principle has not changed. If you value the kind of practical history that still works today, subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who believes preparedness begins at home. These lessons survived war because they worked, and they deserve to be remembered.